fallout, smoke, women crying for their sons because their sons are not, Romans killing riotous groups that are rising up. Free Judea, free our people, autonomy for Israel. You had Herod, an Edomite, and his dynasty. Herod's ruling, killing any potential threat, any potential Messiah. Then you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, that we learn from Josephus are not Jews by birth. No.
Brothers and sisters, they are there. We are not lost. We are scattered. We are original Hebrew.
Let's go! All praises be to the Most High God. Yeah, I say it.
I was opportune to meet my grandparents, whom from childhood had always made us to understand that we are one of the lost tribes of Israel. Okay. So, from my grandmother.
Right? Now look at these. I'm telling you, I gotta show y'all. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Just look for yourself. And this is the creme de la creme. All praises be to the Most High, y'all. Everything we've been through, y'all, the Most High is going to retribute it on all the nations that have had a hand in the oppression of his apple, the apple of his eye, his chosen people, his beloved, his fervent lover, his only begotten. They're going to have their part in the lake of fire. You see them tormented by some kind of creature. I don't even know what that even is, y'all. Judgment in chains. He that led into captivity shall go into captivity. All praise to the Most High, y'all. It said, thou that dwells in the clefts of the rock. Whoa, I know a lot of y'all know about the Caucasus Mountains. Let's just let the word speak. Let's go to verse 4. Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set thy nest among the stars. What's up, Zion Dynasty? Let's go! This is your favorite shredded Israelite, the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. JB Zion. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Zion Dynasty, where yours truly, I'm back in the fringed up flesh, about to hit y'all with another banger. All glory, honor, dominion, power, world without end to the mighty one of Yahweh, the mighty one of Jacob, the holy one of Israel, the restoration of the two branches, the stick of Joseph and the stick of Judah, the resurrector of the dry bones of Ezekiel. All glory, honor, and praise to the Most High Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh, the mightiest power on earth. He that has created the heavens, he that ain't forgot about his firstborn, ain't forgot about his children. Y'all, we back in this thing. And first, y'all, I gotta say peace, love, blessings, and Israelite power to all my Israelite kings and queens, all my Israelite brothers and sisters. Y'all like the garb, your boy came through. I got a shout out, humbled by y'all on Etsy, y'all. Everything that you see on, other than the kufi, I got the kufis off. It's like a pack of like 5 off Amazon. But everything else is humbled by y'all. Y'all check out their family channel on Etsy if y'all want to support that Israelite couple. They have a lot of different fringes, a lot of different garments, a lot of different necklace, just everything, y'all. So family, I want to welcome y'all back to the channel, all my Israelite brothers and sisters. Also, all those that are sojourning with Zion, all those faithful cleaving Gentiles that recognize that we got next, world without end, and that know we are the people that support the Father's children, that have the heart of Yeshua, his mission, right, of going to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. I want to see greeting to y'all as well. So y'all go ahead and like this video up. Y'all like, comment, share to everybody that y'all know. We're going to go into some deep Israelite history on this one, y'all. This is going to be historical. I'm going to show y'all some old documentation. I'm going to show y'all some old treaties. Specifically, it's going to be the 1786 treaty between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Morocco. Now, as you guys may or may not know, also, if y'all want to support, I'm going to put that Cash App and P.O. Box up. Also, that Sefer, we're still tallying names. It's not as many talking about the Sefer as the last round, so we're still trying to get y'all spread that hype. Y'all comment about that. Also, if you guys want to PayPal, I'm going to put all that information up for you guys. So we're going to get back to it. So when you look at the United States government, I'm going to show you all that historically, the first country to recognize America as an independent nation was Morocco. This stuff gets very deep, y'all. And that's why I tell y'all, the mission of Zion Dynasty is to restore the African diaspora, unite the 12 tribes that have been scattered, and get us back to the land. Y'all, this is an eternal, this is a spiritual mission that is the very mission of Yahushua, the very mission of the 12 apostles, the very mission of Paul was to regather all of Israel, get us back to that land, and establish the kingdom world without end. So when we're going around trying to teach this history to our family, to our friends, y'all, there's a lot of spiritual opposition that you're gonna catch. A lot of our people are seeing it because the powers that be do not want us to unify the African continent. This is important when you look at Morocco, because Morocco, shout out to that sister again that is from Meknes, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Morocco, and her two sons did their DNA, and when they did their Moroccan DNA, it lit up the entire continent. Now, I'm not sure if how many of y'all are familiar with My True Ancestry. If you're an African American or a African diaspora descendant scattered to Afro-Brazilian, the Caribbeans, the islands, Haiti, Jamaica, St. Vincent, all of these different regions, right? If you're a descendant of the transatlantic, if you do your DNA test, you're gonna run into E1B1A on a paternal haplogroup test. But not just that, if you scroll down to Israel underscore Netufia, Netufia is the name for ancient Israel before the 1948. Now, the Harvard study already lets you know that before the 1948, we have DNA evidence of ancient sub-Saharan Negro remains. That means that the Israelites there today, if they are legitimate Israelites, they are going to be linked to these sub-Saharan Negro remains that predate the 1948 people. That means before the so-called white Jewish phenomena, there were black Negro remains, ancient black Israelites. But if you do My True Ancestry, it's going to test your DNA on a wide library of old archaeological findings. What you're going to find is that you are closely linked to two major players are going to come up, the Yoruba and Al-Andalus, the Moors, right? So you're going to see Yoruba. I'm going to put mine up so y'all can see. You're going to see that you match closely with the Yoruba people and you match with Al-Andalus. Why is this important? This paints a specific historical picture of our history as a people. The Yoruba's oral tradition, I'm gonna put that up for you guys, is that they came from Morocco. So that they were banished from Morocco, that whole region of Iberian Spain, that lower Granada region, that when they were banished in 1492, they migrated from Morocco and settled in modern Nigeria with the collective rest of their people that had already been there. Right. Mentions the fact in his work Sefer HaKabbalah, as it seems several other of these royal Sephardic families later branched out from the David family, such as the Dan Yayas. When you see the Nasi or the Yaya Negro, they changed their last name to Negro, because this goes back to Dan Yaya Negro when he was given the land of the Moors. That's a lot of that Moorish history. But the Dan Yayas, the Abarbanels, also never ceased to trace their origin to King David. Y'all watch this. Those related to the David family, we find after the expulsion of the Jews from Spain, we find them in Morocco. Right? There had already been Israelites during the fall of the Assyrian Empire that migrated and founded Nigeria. So modern African Americans, our DNA goes to the group of Sephardic, Moorish, Al-Andalus, Yoruba, Ephraimite Israelites that were banished out of Spain when the Moorish Jews were banished, and they migrated and settled in what is today known as Nigeria. The earliest Israelite followers of Yeshua were referred to as Niger. So when they migrated into that region, that's where you get Nigeria, the people of Niger, those early Negro Israelite, those ancient Natufian Israelites. So the oral tradition of the DNA that you're going to match with is Yoruba. They say they come from Morocco. I keep going through this history because Morocco is the linchpin to unify the entire continent of Africa, those that are in the continent today and those that have been scattered. Our ethnicity is Moorish Israelites, specifically the Northern Kingdom. Now I showed y'all on a map where Upper Egypt is at the bottom and Lower Egypt is at the top. Likewise, Nubia, Upper Nubia is at the bottom, Lower Nubia is at the top. Why is this important? The European power construct, y'all hear what I'm saying, has changed maps, has changed regions, has changed names of locations, right? The true birthplace of the Northern Kingdom is Africa. When you look at the Northeast Africa region, we know the Middle East is a new term that goes back to, say, the 1850s. This is not a term of antiquity. When you look back at King Angeus of Africa that you read about in the book of Jasher, a hidden book that they took out the Bible, King Angeus of Africa, Dinahaba, his capital was in the Middle East. So during the time of the Bible, that whole region of Canaan was also seen as Ham's land. Now, we already know that Canaan was the son of Ham. This is why the land of Canaan belonged to Ham in antiquity. So that entire region is Northeast Africa. So when you look at Canaan's borders, if the Northern Kingdom is northern, in actuality, it wouldn't be north towards Europe. It would be in Africa when you look at how they've changed regions, changed names. How do I know that? I know a lot of y'all like, how do you make that jump to say that Africa is Northern Kingdom? The oral tradition, right? The oral tradition of the Yoruba that the modern diaspora comes from, that is linked to ancient Morocco, their oral tradition talks about the Ephrati. Now, anybody, y'all can search this stuff and verify this for yourself. I'm gonna give y'all some credible sources. Harvard, Tudor Parfit talks about this when talking about the Yoruba, Black Jews of Africa and the Americas. Edith Bruder, her Oxford publication, talks about the Black Jews of Africa and goes into detail about the Yoruba sons of Ephraim. Also, the Tel Aviv Jerusalem Library talks about Abraham Ephrati, those Ephraimites that had been in Morocco, been in Africa for thousands of years. The Jewish Virtual Library also talks about this Wifran, Ifran, Banu Ifran, these Afriat Ephraimites that had been in Morocco. Not just that, but the Encyclopedia of the Jewish Diaspora. Y'all check these books out. You can find that one on Amazon. I think they shot the price up to like $200. And a lot of y'all have been reaching out that a lot of these books I've been showing y'all, they've been trying to burn by raising the price up. And that's why I tell y'all, when I mention this stuff, you guys try to get this research if you can. So we have, it's so many sources, y'all, that link this ancient Moroccan Jewish family going back thousands of years, known as the Ephrati. Now, I didn't show y'all that H673 is the same word for Ephraim and Ephrathite. The Hebrew word is Ephrati. That means
Ephrathite, ashiness or fruitfulness, an inhabitant or descendant of Ephraim. So one that inhabits Ephraim or is a descendant of Ephraim, or also is an inhabitant of Bethlehem, because these Ephraimites lived in Bethlehem, because Rachel in Genesis 35 verse 19 died in Bethlehem. All praises to the Most High Yah. Now I'm going to show y'all some more sources. H673 again, Ephrati. There's only one word in H673. And Ephrati means, it says an Ephrathite or an Ephraimite. That means that this could be interchangeable. It's the same word, Ephraimite, Ephrathite. Somebody just variated the word to dissociate Christ and David from Ephraim. Y'all, there has been a big plot against so-called Afriat or Ephrati, African people, to separate Northern Kingdom from Israel, to do away with the remembrance of Israel.
that means when somebody first looked at the ancient Judean scriptures, when they read about David's father Jesse being an Ephrathite, the Hebrew word that they read was Ephrati. So somebody read those Judean scriptures and read David was the son of Jesse, the Ephrati. Then they read about Ephraim, the son of Joseph, in Genesis 48, and it said Ephrati. It's the exact same word in the Hebrew. I'm trying to get y'all to receive that in your brain and let that light bulb go off that, oh, it's the same word. A scholar went and created a variation. This is where you get Ephrathite versus Ephraimite. The Hebrew verifies this. Why is this important? David's lineage is Ephrati. Christ, who comes from Bethlehem, was Ephrati. Why did the Ephraimites have Bethlehem even though Bethlehem was within Judah? It's because we read in Genesis 35 that Rachel died on the way to Bethlehem.
This is Moses writing in hindsight. So he calls the area Bethlehem, right? To signify that Ephraim would eventually have that land. Now, what it was called in antiquity, we could just say Canaan, right? This was the land of Canaan. This was Ham's land, right? But it was always prophesied that Shem, through the children of Israel, would have that portion of the promised land and that kind of thing. So what we see happen, family, is that these Ephraimites, because their foremother Rachel died going to Bethlehem, that they reached an agreement with Judah on Joshua dividing the promised land up between the Israelites. Joshua, being an Ephraimite himself, had sympathy for his foremother Rachel that died in that area. I repeat, Leah is the mother of Judah. Leah is the mother of Judah. So when you see in Matthew chapter 2 that right when Herod is killing all those man-childs trying to find Yeshua, going back to Yeshua the son of Nun, an Ephraimite as well, but we see Herod trying to kill all those babies to find Yeshua. He kills all those Bethlehem babies. In that Matthew chapter 2, it says, Rachel mourns for her kids because they are not. Why do I go through all of this? Our history as African Americans is tied to Morocco, tied to Ephraim, tied to the Ephrati family, tied to David. Now I'm gonna show y'all something. I'm gonna put on the screen and show you guys the ancient map of the Kingdom of Morocco. They don't want y'all to know this. I hope they don't pull this video, y'all. I hope that this stuff stays up. But I gotta share this history. For about 120 years, the flag of Morocco had a Star of David. I got to show y'all this. I'm gonna put that on the screen. I'm gonna show you a little bit of that article. Y'all Google Morocco Star of David and you're gonna go down a rabbit hole. That there appears to be some type of network that took place between the Kingdom of Morocco and the United States government. Now this gets into the treaty, y'all, because Morocco is the heartbeat of finding out the history of the so-called African diaspora. I told y'all, Africa is not an ancient term. Akebulan is the motherland, and the land of Ham or Khemit is the ancient Hamitic name for the continent. Africa, ka being a Roman suffix, Afri is a Shemitic term for the Afars. This gets into Ephraim and also goes into what Josephus talks about, the two Afars, the Midianite Afar, or the Ethiopian influence, along with the grandson or great-grandson of Abraham, Afar, which is Ephraim. Josephus tells us that's where the continent got its name from in contemporary times. Africa is Shemitic for the people of Ephraim, or the Ephraite family, which was linked to Abraham ha-Ephrati in Morocco. So our history is linked to those Nigerians that migrated from Morocco, which is North Africa. This shows you that the Bantus, the Niger Congo Falam, initially it was in North Africa. Those ancient Berbers, I'm talking about the dark-skinned Berbers, not the fair-skinned North Africans and Middle Easterners that you see today, but those ancient Negro stock, these were linked to Northern Kingdom Ephraim, or Ephraimite Moors, ancient Moors, right? That eventually migrated deeper into Africa, creating the Sub-Saharan and the Bantu people. Niger Congo phylum being a precursor to the Bantus, right? A lot of the Yoruba, Nigerian, the Cameroon region gave birth to this explosion of Israelites, the Bantu explosion that took place, which was influenced by a migration of Israelites that went into the region during the fall of Jerusalem. It's a lot of history that goes into these Israelites flooding the continent. But the heartbeat to trace this rabbit hole is Morocco. That's why when we test our old DNA, we run into Morocco or more. Morvo going to Morocco or Mauritania or dark skinned, those indigenous Almazaic people, right? Which were Ephraimites. Judaism is the oldest religion of the continent because of these Jewish settlements of Ephraimite Northern Kingdom living there. And they were called the Hebrew word Ephrati, the same name for Jesse's family in Bethlehem, of who David is a descendant, of whom Solomon is a descendant. Now let's look at that flag. Now I showed you guys the flag of Morocco today is that 5-point star. A brother dropped in the comments about, man, is this linked to why the Testament of Solomon talks about a 5-pointed star that Solomon had said? Also,
the seal that is said to belong to Solomon. I'm gonna give y'all a little history on the Star of David. A lot of our people think that this originated with the Ish people. We think that this was the Ish people. At best, this was the Star of Remphan. There was a lot of idolatry connected to Israel. That is not where the Ish people got the Star of David from. The Ish people got the Star of David from Africa. Y'all check out Benea Israel's documentary, The Jews of West Africa. In that documentary, they found a silver chasp, I think that's those cups, a silver cup with a Star of David in Nigeria. So that means that star originated in Africa, specifically with the Nigerians, specifically with the Moroccans, because there is a link between those ancient Moors and modern Nigerians. I know this is a lot of history. So you do your DNA, you're gonna run into Yoruba who say that they came from Morocco and that they're Ephraimites. There is well documentation about the Ephraimites being in Morocco. When you look at the Jewish Virtual Library, the Jewish Diaspora Encyclopedia, the Tel Aviv Library, all talk about this ancient Ephraim presence in Morocco. This is important because the longest treaty, the longest, most unbroken treaty, y'all gotta catch this, of America in American history is between America and Morocco. This is the Treaty of 1786. I'm gonna put that on the screen for y'all. So as you guys are seeing, there is a treaty that goes back to 1786 where Morocco was the first country to recognize the United States independence, and this is the longest held treaty that America has and is unbroken to this day. Y'all, this stuff gets very deep. A lot of my Moorish brothers were saying how America is a corporation. When you look at things like your social security number, now this is about to get deep. America is a beast system. I told y'all that last ruling empire that would rule before Christ returns. America is that daughter of Babylon, that whore of Babylon, that offshoot of the eagle, which is the fourth animal beast that would rule. We see this in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, about the four beasts. The lion with eagle's wings, the bear that stands up on highest feet. This is the Medo-Persian Empire. The lion being ancient Babylon. A leopard, this signifying the Greeks. And a fourth dreadful beast that Daniel does not give an animal to. Now this gets deep. Y'all check out some of those older videos. But basically, Daniel in Daniel chapter 7 does not give an animal to that fourth beast. He just says it's dreadful. When you go to the book of Revelation, it says in Revelation 13 that the beast comes out of the sea, but it still doesn't give you an animal. When you go to the hidden book of Ezra, it says that there was an eagle that comes out of the sea. The book of Ezra, the Apocrypha, fills in those puzzle pieces to show you that last image. And we know ancient Rome's image was an eagle, but Christ prophesied in Luke 21 that after his death, Israel would be scattered to the four corners of the earth. They did not believe in Yeshua. Our forefathers rejected him, and we went into that final captivity because of this. If we had a belief in Yahusha, he had everything, the chariots in heaven, the Judean rebel rousers, to establish the kingdom. Now we know this was the Father's will to atone for our sins, but there's always that choice with our people where we have to choose. There's always that fork in the road. So America is a corporation. America is an offshoot of ancient Rome, that final captivity. So when you look at America, it is a beast system that is set off the back of our people. This is prophecy, Deuteronomy 28, the yoke of iron, the eagle, the nation that comes as swift as the eagle flies. So America, the social security cards that we have, the social security numbers, all of this, the working, the 9 to 5s, this capitalistic society where you got to pay for drinking water, this is a corporation. Y'all understand? America is a business that a lot of our Moorish brothers believe that Morocco has a strong, heavy hand. Now, this gets kind of deep, y'all. It would almost look like there was an agreement between Morocco, the Kingdom of Morocco, and America, where Morocco would maintain peace and not spill the beans on the history of the Negroes, that they would sacrifice their people to the beast. Now, I'm not going to say sacrifice because I'm still investigating how this took place. A lot of our people think Africans sold Africans in the slave trade. This is true to an extent that there were indigenous Hamitic tribes that knew we were not the people. But it gets deeper. When they found our people, there were chieftains of Hebrews
Israelites that sold our people. This is what it appears with the Kingdom of Morocco, that they know our history and have agreed with America through this treaty to maintain peaceful relationships. Why is this important? Morocco has all the history to elaborate on our Moorish Ephraimite history, our Ephrati, David Ephrati, Yahusha, the Bethlehem Ephratite. To go into all of that history, they could expose it to the diaspora, but there appears to be a friendly relationship where they're not going into that. They even changed their flag that initially had that Ephraimite Star of David. Now, if you go way back in time, I'm still investigating that Star of David, y'all, to see if it was something the Most High told us to do or something that Israelites had been doing. So I'm not endorsing that thing, y'all, because it could be a long tradition going way back to the Negro Israelites, but that still don't make it something that we need to subscribe to necessarily, because it still could be linked to our people getting caught up in all kinds of madness. But I bring it up to show you that they knew that they were the Israelites before the Jewish people in 1948 adopted the star, created the nation of Israel, the fake Jewish state, right? In 1948, before that, for 120 years, the Moroccans had that Star of David on their Moroccan flag. So they knew who they were, which is very interesting when you look at American-Moroccan relationships, that they have great relationship. And that they even changed that star to the 5-pointed star, which a brother still commented, said this is still linked to Solomon, right? So there's still remnants of truth that you can find exploring that Ephraimite, Ephrati, Moroccan history. So I know this is a lot, y'all. I'm gonna do a quick review and I'm gonna do follow-ups from time to time, but I want you guys to start thinking like this. Africa is the northern kingdom. The goal of Zion dynasty, the goal of the Messiah is to reunite all of the scattered tribes of Israel. The heartbeat of that process is Africa, Morocco specifically, and that northern kingdom Ephraimite history. They say, oh, we don't know where the lost 10 tribes are. The lost 10 tribes. A prime minister of Judea, of the Jewish nation in 1995, I forget his name, the prime minister in 1995, sent a research team to Nigeria for the sole purpose of locating the 10 lost tribes. Africa is those 10 lost tribes that became known as the Northern Kingdom that split from the other 2 tribes. And the Northern Kingdom was also synonymous with Israel. So when you hear the Most High is going to take Judah and Israel and rejoin them together, this could be synonymous with Judah the tribe and Ephraim the tribe. Ephraim being the leading noble family of Ephrati, or the northern kingdom of Israel. The African continent, the Afriat continent, is the continent of the northern kingdom, and this is the fear that white folks are quivering in their boots. And I hope they don't take these lessons down, but I gotta give y'all this. We are linked to Ephraim. A lot of y'all say, well, we're Judah, we're Judah, we're Judah. Yes, the mystery is Bethlehem was situated within Judah. I can be from Texas and not be from Austin. We see a lot during the time of the Promised Land when Joshua conquered the Promised Land in the book of Joshua, that when he divided the tribes into their own land, some cities within those tribal borders belonged to other tribes. Manasseh had territory within Ephraim. You had Simeon that had territory within Judah. In Bethlehem, that was given to Ephraim, even though it was in Judah. So you can say that Christ comes out of Judah, that Christ is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, because he comes out of Judah. Specifically, the devil's in the details. Specifically, he comes out of the Ephraimite town of Bethlehem that was within Judah's borders. This is powerful because it rallies all of the diaspora of Israel, the entire continent of Afriat, under the banner of King David, even Yahusha, the son of David. This is what Satan fears me to show you all who you are. Your identity is hid in Christ, who came out of Bethlehem, who was an Ephraimite that lived within Judah. His descendants that lived in Judea migrated into Africa to flee persecution. A lot of their people had already been the Moors of North African region that lived in the bottom half of Spain. During the time of the Jews and Moors of Spain, a lot of them vanished and went deeper to run into the Gold Coast of Africa. Those white Edomite descendants knew this and took those scattered Israelites
and scattered them to the four corners of the earth. This is the power of a living God. He concealed a family lineage within his own people. He knew that the Ish people would try to take Judah, but the mystery was always the Negro, the African, the people of Afri, which is Ephraim, the people of Ephrati. So I hope y'all got something out of this. I thought that was so interesting when that brother told me about that. The longest unbroken treaty is the Moroccan United States treaty, right? Because they know the history. The ancient flag of Morocco had the Star of David on it for about 120 years. They conceded it to America, and those Ish people, they allowed them to be in cahoots to have our history, and this could have been for peace reasons. Some people say Morocco still owns America, and that all of this empire and this wealth that America is building up is gonna go right back to the African continent. Y'all research this stuff for yourself, right? But what we do know is we are the lost tribes. We are those 10 Ephraim tribes, those that lived within Judea, Bethlehem, migrated into the continent of Africa, and had been there during the time of the northern kingdom as well. Yoruba is King Jeroboam, the Ephrati or Ephraimite, who was the king, the first king, the noble family of the 10 tribes. So y'all, it's a lot. I'm gonna do a lot of follow-ups on this topic, but the powers that be fear the continent of Africa, rallying behind the identity of being Israel and the northern kingdom. That is the fear of Satan. So I hope y'all got something out of this. I love you all with the love of the Messiah. Peace, love, blessings, and Moorish Ephraimite power to all the diaspora, all the 12 tribes scattered abroad. I love you all with the love of the Mashiach. Shalom. All praises.